Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with a very interesting test case in the virtues and problems of recording things live, and not from a sonic point of view, actually, just from a performance and interpreter point of view. And the object in question is this coupling of Rachmaninoff's The Bells, arguably his greatest masterpiece, and the Symphonic Dances, another one of his greatest masterpieces. It's been a popular coupling ever since the CD came out of the iconic Kirill Kondrashin recording of these works from Russia, from Moscow. But this one is on the LPO label. It features Edward Gardner, the London Philharmonic Orchestra and Choir, and a trio of soloists who are really going to get me in trouble. They're quite good, but I mean, how am I going to do this? Well, let's see. The soprano is Christina, they must be kidding, M-K-H-I. How do you pronounce that? Mkhitaryan, M-K-H-I-T-A-R-Y-A-N. She's the soprano. Dmitro Popov, okay, that's easy enough. And Kostas Smoriginas, bass baritone. I mean, they should all be named John Smith and Elizabeth Jones, and we don't have an issue. Anyway, so here we go. That's the soloist, but here's the deal. Oh, and it's packaged in this, one of these things, part of the classical record industry's ongoing effort to turn physical product into objects of vanishing significance. I mean, just you'll put this away and you'll never find it again. I don't know how you'll do it. I mean, yes, it does have on the side the title of what's in there, but it's incredible. I mean, they, as someone who worked for a while with and had a very dear friend who did brand and product development, how to make something of total, complete, utter anonymity and insignificance. Leave it up to those folks in the classical record biz. However, I will say that this was actually produced in Lithuania. So let's hear it for us Litvaks. Yay! Okay, anyway, here's the bottom line. These are live performances. They're very different works because the Bells requires soloists and a choir. The Symphonic Dances does not. The performances are very exciting and really well played. Now, first, The Bells. Well, the incredible thing about this performance is the clarity of the choral contribution. I mean, it's very well balanced against the orchestra, but you could actually understand what they're saying. I almost never understand what they're saying. I mean, they could be singing about the menu in a Russian restaurant. I mean, it's shashlik, 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 chicken Kiev, right? Kasha, kasha, blini, keep going. It's just wonderful. You'd never know. You would never know at all. It's just this furry, mushy, especially in the third movement, the alarm bells, the iron bells. I mean, it's a fabulous poem. Remember the original Edgar Allan Poe? Hear the loud alarm bells, brazen bells, what a tale of terror now their turbulence he tells, in this startled ear of night, how they scream out their affright, too much terrified to speak, they can only shriek, shriek, shriek. Oh, boy, is that fabulous. Or, as they say in Russia, bleedy, 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 bleedy. Yeah. So, anyway, it's just this chromatic sludge fest, but wow, I mean, you hear the choir and you hear them pronouncing actual words. It's like really fantastic. So the Bells, I found marvelous. It's a fantastic live performance, beautifully recorded, and really powerful. So that was thrilling. That was really thrilling. The Symphonic Dances, though, well, this is where things get interesting. It's a quick performance. Gardner tends to be a zippy conductor. It's exciting. It's really exciting. the very ending, or do they let the tam-tam crash overhang or do they not, And Leonard Slatkin mentioned the fact that he can't do it live because the audience always interrupts with applause, so you never get the overhang. And that's exactly what happens here. He tries to do it, but everybody just jumps up and starts screaming at the end, which is really annoying. But beyond that, this very swift and exciting performance and interpretation comes across as kind of glib and lacking in Russian bottom guts. Yeah, especially at the very end. Da 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 ba bum. It's got to have that hard-hitting accent and that sort of down and dirty sound. It's the quotation is from Rachmaninoff's Vespers at that point. It's vocal music, and then Gardner is just whipping it up, and it's really I can imagine if you'd been sitting there at the South Bank Center. Is that where this was? Yes, South Bank Center, Royal Festival Hall. And in March 2023 for the Symphonic Dances. If you'd been there, you'd have been on your feet at the end. I mean, it would have been just physically thrilling. But on recording, on disc, doesn't quite do it. It needs to be more tactile, a little bit slower, with sharper accents and more thrust, rather than just this surface sheen of brilliance. And I can't fault the interpretation for what it was. Gardner was obviously in the moment, and he lets the orchestra cut loose, and I'm sure everybody went home feeling, oh wow, that was just amazing. But reproduced on disc is something that you're going to hear over and over again, and in comparison to the other great performances of this work, and now there are like dozens of them, or not great ones, but many very, very fine ones, it really, really comes off as just a tad shallow and lacking in thrust. And I was very surprised, because you can tell it's a really exciting interpretation, and that everyone is really excited about it at the end, and you agree with them. But no, it's not one of the great symphonic dances, but it is one of the great recordings of the bells. It's an absolutely amazing recording of the bells. So this is what happens, the vicissitudes of recording live. I mean, sometimes it works, and sometimes it works not as well. But I'm still glad to have heard this, just in order to make that point clear, number one, and number two, because I mean, I now know that they're not singing about the menu in a Russian restaurant. It could have been a Chinese restaurant too. Quite frankly, it works just as well. Moo goo gai pan. No, never mind. It really it's an interesting and worthwhile recording for the bells, for sure. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.